Alright, so Tresspasser, let's get into this, because I really like the art design of this game, and Tresspasser, because there's so much to it, to the background of the Mage and Templar Rebellion that I really liked. But also, Morrigan, let's just start it off with Tresspasser with this. Morrigan disappears again, and nobody knows where she went. Kind of sounds vaguely familiar, but that's the point. And I really wanted to talk about how the artistic design of this game is. Ferelden is actually based off of a Dungeons and Dragons type of deal. Because originally, and in the Dragon Age series, you can increase your your strength, dexterity, intelligence, and all that type of stuff. So, just like the Elder Scrolls, it does inspire off of Dungeons and Dragons, but in a different way. Elder Scrolls was inspired by the randomized dice roll, but the character creator and the character customization is inspired directly from Dungeons and Dragons. And you have Strength, which is for Warrior class, Dexterity, which is for the Rogue class, and Magic, which is for the Mage class. And they all work exactly like Dungeons and Dragons did. Warriors do this. Magic users can attack from afar. And also, the Rogue class can unlock doors into special rooms that you couldn't go before. So that is lifted directly from D&D. You also have Cunning, Willpower, and Constitution. Cunning is the character's intelligence and deviousness. And willpower is the strength of mind and personality. And also increases attack and magic defense. And here is Constitution, which weighs how much health you have. So, and also Inquisition added the offensive, and of course the defensive, which is magic and melee defense, and ranged defense, cold defense, the elements like electrical, fire, spirit, and their guard, which is a new armor that they can temporarily have. Of course, armor rating. And on the offense, you can do armor penetration, guard damage bonus, critical chance, and main hand damage, and offhand damage. But the story of Dragon Age Tresspasser lets off a year or two after the events of Inquisition. And, of course, they are debating whether or not the Inquisition should continue or let it be disbanded. And there are many different dialogue options throughout the story about this. And it starts off with suggestive writing. They're at the beginning there with who was the character's name? Hang on. I think it's Mother Gazelle. Yeah, it is. Mother Gazelle's telling you at the beginning, and it's just suggestive writing for a decision made later on. And, Dragon Age and both Mass Effect does this perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. In every game they make is suggestive writing leading to something unique later on. So the entire design choice of the Orlais on the left hand of the board is basically French chevalier type of stuff. And there's quite literally chevaliers, which just means knights. in the game, and they're separate from the Knights Templars. So it's kind of more of a French culture that is the backdrop of Tresspasser. And of course you have to deal with the Quinari. And the Quinari, they're basically trying to start a war. And you have to fight them and a whole bunch of stuff. And depending on what you do during Iron Bull's mission, Iron Bull can betray you for the Quinari Order. And that's pretty interesting. But the most interesting kicker is Solus, because he disappears at the end of Inquisition, but now you can actually understand why he left, and his identity has been fully revealed as sort of a trickster wolf god, which adds to the assemble of gods throughout this series. Like the Elven people, they have their gods and their pagan worship. The Quinari has their Luciferian aspect to them, of their strength and their determinism, which is actually lifted straight from Luciferian stuff and books and ideology. So in this game, in Tresspasser, you finally come across Solus, who's is going to tell you you're dying because of the anchor, right? And because of the gift you have in Inquisition. You're dying because of it now in this one. And he's telling you that the only reason why the elves became mortal is basically just because their realm, Arlathon gets destroyed, and because they're locked off from their magic, elves slowly became mortal as time went on. So they are not connected to their magic anymore, their witchcraft anymore, their magical goddess anymore. So they're like basically dying because they're not immortal anymore. They don't have the power of Godhead, because in the beginning of the series, for the elves, they had ascended to Godhead, and they became one with the gods, and so they could live forever. But their magical realm or magical world of Arlathan gets removed. They are now mortal, and now there are city elves and Dalish clans. But Solus is actually trying to bring back the immortal elven hierarchy and Arlathan itself. So this is just unique. This is just crazy, especially since the Quinari are fighting you your whole way to Solus, because they are just kind of pissed off and almost seemingly like they just want to start war, you know. And it's just crazy, especially in Inquisition. You actually, when you talk to Iron Bull, you actually understand their culture a lot more. And if the Quinari take over, anybody who's not Quinari will become reprogrammed, because actually Iron Bull was a reprogrammer who reprogrammed minds, right? But another kicker was diving deep into the underroads, the deep roads, and actually unlocking his secrets, because actually there are these magical trees at the bottom that actually originally gave the dwarves magic, but since there was such an uprising with the dwarves, they also got cut off with their magic. So now they're in the higher realms, which is just below the surface, without magic. And now you actually get to delve deep into the deep roads, and in the Uncharted Abyss, you can actually go into the abyss and figure out the secrets of these dwarven people. You get close to the bottom of the earth, and you see a big ocean. But once you get to the bottom, or below the ocean, there's actually a realm of dry land below the ocean, which was the original dwarf homeland. You actually get to see this tree. So Yeah. And the secret stays with the Inquisition. You fight this tree, you understand the original dwarven people that stayed under the ocean, which actually kills someone in your crew, with their enchanted bows. And you actually understand the dwarven people a lot more. But there's a lot about Andraste that needs to be said. Because we knew that Dragon Age already had a Celtic goddess of war. But did you know about, like Morrigan? But did you know about the other name of Morrigan? Or in other versions of the tale, is a sibling or has a lot of similarities to Morrigan? The Celtic goddess's name was Andraste. So, the Andraste of the Chantry in this game, in Dragon Age as a series, is actually just the sibling or concoction or another name for the Morrigan. So it kind of makes sense that both are in the series, one symbolically and one physically. And like I said, Morrigan is back in Inquisition, and she's acting as an occult advisor, and of course, she's pretty much like in Origins, she's the voice of the apostates and gives them reason. So there's that. Yeah, it's confirmed that this game has the Quinari, which is basically the Luciferian aspect. They have strong will, courage, and determination, and they do not really question. They do it to be strong. That's their culture of warriors. And, of course, they have the Dalish elves of magic, of the witch moon, of magic, and the practicing of such magic. And from deeper retrospection, they also have the Celtic people. All of these views are in the game, and it does all of them a good service. So, there's that. And like I said, you can play either as an elf or Quinari. It feels good, because there's a dialogue option as soon as you take over Skyhold and you're announcing to the people. There's literally a dialogue for elves and Quinaris, like, it gives me power that the Quinari can rule. Or it gives me power this elf can rule. Like right there on the top left. There's a dialogue option. And it just kind of feels empowering because, again, that's always the meaning of equality. Religious equality. And it's perfected in this game. To make a note, this game also has bisexuals and gay people. In fact, the gay person in general is actually a necromancer for the Tevinter, which is basically the land of pure magic, magical Zal. So he's a royal blood necromancer gay homosexual. So, of course, equality trumps all. And this is what this game pulls off perfectly. And there's also a transgender. I think it's Iron Bull's top lieutenant. And in one of the cutscenes it's revealed that he is a woman. So, equality does trump all. Play through this just right. Because I played as an elf with Dalish markings. And actually, I romanced Solus in Inquisition. So, I also played as a Quinari, and it felt really powerful as a Quinari to be the leader of the religious Inquisition, by the way. But when I played through the elf, I romanced Solus, and there was a scene near the end where he actually removed my Dalish markings and said there were actually slaver markings that marked the elven slaves of the human culture, or something like that. And I just kind of felt powerful, like, oh my god, this is the truth of the elvish people. And that's what Inquisition and Tresspasser is really about, is unlocking the secrets of every single culture. You even understand the Avar more. You can actually talk to one of the Avar clan members, who's like a druid, or a chieftain in the magic world, and he actually, in the Jaws of Hakon, in the Jaws of Hakon, in the area right there, where he brings a whole bunch of spirits from the Fade to worship you as your magical marking makes you a true god, right? And in the original Inquisition, you realize that it was actually you thought earlier in the series, you thought that it was the Tevinter that destroyed the elves, right? But no, it's revealed in this one that the ancient elves, you actually get to talk to one of them, one of the ancient elves in the original game, and he actually says, no, the elves destroyed themselves. And that is Dragon Age, Inquisition, and Tresspasser. But going back to Solus, he realizes that he's trying to awaken all of the ancient gods or something. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but he wants Arlathan back, and that he was a traitor to the Elvish people. But he's now trying to bring the Arlathan and the ancient elves and their magic back to the real world. Why else do you think he was trying to trick you into activating ancient orbs of his people in the original Inquisition? He's like, oh, I'm sensing another artifact of my people. Why do you think he was doing that? Because he's trying to link them all together to bring back the magic of the original ancient elves. And so you get to understand the secrets of this, of the lore of this series a lot more, and there's a lot to be indulged upon in the sequel. And in the sequel, there's this mural, the Dark Wolf. Basically, you're gonna understand why the Blights. You're gonna understand the secrets of the Blights a lot more in the sequel by the looks of it, and why it's timed. And it shows a mural of all 7 of the archdemons being activated. 5 already were activated, the 5th one in Origins. Those are already deactivated, and there's 2 more to be activated, 2 more Blights. And when that happens, basically something is going to happen. And I'm very excited to play through that. But the political situation is intense. And for the Quinari, to be fighting and fighting the ancestral spirits that are guardians of that area, it kind of makes sense for the warrior squad, one of them to sneak through and try to get back to the normal realm and die in that palace during that whole political setup. So there is that. And actually seeing the crossroads of the Illuvians was pretty powerful in the moment that it stood for. Like I said, they got the Tevinter cult of the Venatori right. And if you just listen to the ambience of being around a cult, it's actually pretty chilling like you just heard, so I wanted to end the video with that. So I hope you enjoyed Tresspasser and Inquisition.